don't know if y'all remember, but in a previous episode I did a little bit with the steering, and it looked a little bit not so hot on the firewall, needed a lot of work. So what I actually did was I got a different steering column. That other steering column we had a freaking broken blinker, and it's more expensive to fix the blinker than it is to just buy a whole new column. So I bought a new chrome steering column from Speedway Motors, and I got it wrapped up in saran wrap and some tape so it don't get scratched up. But anyways, here's the shifter linkage. Now this shifter linkage is pretty awesome because it actually is removable. You see those threaded holes there? This is actually the linkage here, so this actually spins. But you know, on most GM steering columns they have this integrated in with the column, so you actually have to have a slotted hole or a larger hole to fit this whole assembly in. Well, this piece here, what you can do is you can just take it off and then you have a 2-inch hole, just a regular hole, and then you can put this back on after it's in. It has different holes, so you can also adjust it in slight increments based on where your exhaust is, or adjusting it to fit better on your linkage. So what I did was, again, I shaved that little piece out, and I used a Mittler Bros punch and flare to actually punch the 2-inch hole, and then it flares this out, which in turn opens this up another 1/8 of an inch, which is good because the steering column goes in at an angle, so it's going to be slightly taller than 2 inches, so it'll be more like an ellipse. Well, that'll be made up for in this little dimple here, so it'll look pretty nice. You might not be able to see much in video, but you can see it's a nice radius out. It just cleans it all up. And then down in here, I shaved all this back, so this is all nice and smooth again. And then down here, I'm gonna make another piece because before, again, since the column before had to slide in because of the shifter linkage, we had this removable panel here. See, this panel went in the inside like that. Well, the more panels you have, and this was all gonna bolt together, the more panels you have, the more likely that it could leak. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this panel altogether and actually weld a new piece in here. So it's all welded tight, no possibility for leaks, but the steering column will still be able to send through to the steering shaft, which you can see right there is perfectly lined up with the hole. That's just another one of those little things, makes a big difference in the end result of a build. It all adds up. So smooth firewall, check. I got this new LED drop light from Summit. I think it's freaking nice. The best thing about this is it's LED, so this doesn't get hot. You know how many times I've burnt myself on those damn halogen housings? They're freaking hot. When you're working under a car and you accidentally roll over and lean on it or something, it's the worst. So this is a nice upgrade. Again, just bought this from Sema Racing. Anyways, now, see, you can see the rest of this firewall is smooth. Well, in here is the original floor pans, and what I really do not like one bit is you can see these square and kind of weird shaped dimples or bead rolls, which they put in from the factory. They do that for many reasons. Strength, maybe there was something there that needed to fit. Anyways, I just think it looks dumb. My dad was gonna leave it stock, but I'm actually gonna shave it, smooth it out, because it'll make it look a lot better. Now down here, you can see maybe there are some ribs in there, which add some pretty significant strength, and they actually don't look too bad, so I'm gonna leave those. But again, I'm gonna shave those weird shapes over here. Again, it's kind of the same deal. I suspect there was some of those weird shapes on this side as well, but it's not there anymore. So I'm gonna make a patch panel again that's smooth there, and this does have those flat, straight bead rolls again for strength. So that's just a little detail. Today on Tinman's Garage, we're gonna go through and just make a basic patch panel out of some 18 gauge steel. Now here is the panel that I cut out, little piece that I cut out. I knew it was gonna be full of lead, and that is the main reason why I cut it out. I didn't know how much was there and it needed some work. So I just cut it out and I'm just gonna make a new one. Sunflower seed in the beard. No extra charge. Here I have the 90-degree bend laid out, and I have my brake here. Now if you don't have a brake, which a lot of people won't, you can use a vise or a stair or really anything with a 90-degree bend and just hammer it over, but this will give you the nicest finished product here. Now you can see that when I put this in, it's curved like I said, and when you bend it, it's going to straighten out, so that's something to keep in mind. I thought this here was kind of funny. There was this hokey ass patch over this hole here. Inside it's full of bolts and nuts. Literally full of bolts and nuts. See how many I can get out of there, huh? There's still more in there. Oh my god, what the hell? Now if you look along here with this panel here, that straight edge is sitting on there. Now you can see that when this was fused together, this was welded together, this used to be a separate panel, you can see the line here. This used to be a separate panel that bolted up. Well, whoever welded this up, it was not in the proper location, so you can see that there's a bigger gap in this side here than there is in the front. Turns out making this gap look like shit. I guess this is kind of hard to explain, but it's one of those things where we put it all together and we kind of messed with it a little bit and it just didn't look quite right. Actually, it didn't look right at all. So we could have either elected to take some out of this way and pie cut it and shorten it this way, or bring this up this way. Either way it would have worked, but we decided not to mess with this opening and we're just gonna stretch that up. And then on the inside here you can see there's another inner panel that will also have to be stretched. It's a two-piece panel. When my dad did these body mods back in the late 90s, something must not have been lined up right, or the fenders are a little bit off. Something's just a little bit off and it wasn't really working out, so now I'm gonna have to take care of that. Really a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So tonight I'm gonna chop that up and splice that, pie cut it in, or whatever you wanna call it. Now you can see that I stretched these up about 3/4 of an inch. They're pie cut and stretched up. So when I do the outside now, the inside is gonna be short. You can see here. Now the inside is short because I had to raise the outside. So I have to do a similar process to the inside while keeping this mounting tab in the exact same location. So on this side here, you can see what I did. Had this panel loose, and then I cut along this lip here. So you can see in here, it would have been about along this lip, inside of this lip here. Cut the lip off, and then bolted it back up to where it was. And now you can see I have this black area in here to fill back in with some metal, and this leaves this mounting bracket in the same exact location, so it'll bolt up to the core support. I could have theoretically taken this and pie cut it right down the center and raised this whole piece up here, but then this would have been in the wrong location. So right in here you can see that that is still welded to there, but this top piece here, this brown piece, is separate. So now, like I said, all I gotta do is fill this in on the inside here, which is gonna be kind of tough. I pie cut it all the way up in here so that this whole thing can kind of form to this here. So I'll do the same thing on this side, just cut this along this line, stretch it up, bolt it all back in these holes, and then make a filler piece and weld it in. A lot of time consuming stuff, but that's kind of how it goes. Fucker!